Is it likely that Feed the Hungry would get involved at some point with the situation in Gaza?
Hello and welcome to Snack on That, something for everyone. Today's episode we look at how Feed the Hungry is helping Zimbabwe build a sustainable means of supporting themselves. We're packing 1 million meals, I can't quite believe that. And of course we've got our wonderful fellow presenters. Gavin, how are you?
Bom dia. That was Portuguese, by the way.
Portuguese, thank you very much. And Gwyn, how are you?
Hwyl fawr I pawb sydd yma, tri ohonon ni, yn gallu siarad gyda'n gilydd I ddod â pethau da ni'n nabod o gwmpas y byd.
He's just gone into tongues.
Oh my goodness me.
Yes,
what on earth did that mean? What, was it Welsh?
It was the language of heaven.
Okay. Yeah, it was tongues.
Spoken by 3 people, yeah.
What do you mean? What did you actually say? Go on.
I was talking about how we're actually wrestling with the conversation about the things that we're doing around the world and here in the UK.
Fantastic.
And is it true that there are more sheep in Wales than there are people?
It depends how much of them you eat.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
Very
I like
good.
it.
Very, very good.
Very good. But first, we've discovered a little addiction that you've got, Gwyn. Known to many of us, maybe not even known to yourself.
Oh no, here we go.
Just to let you know that Gwyn has an addiction to auctions and collecting things and passing them into the warehouse as quickly as possible. So first of all, we've just got a question about one of the latest pallets that arrived in the Feed the Hungry warehouse. Venison. Any comments to make?
It tastes really nice.
Have you tasted it?
Yeah, I have.
I thought I was the only one who tried it.
Yeah,
What did you think
It's a
of it,
very
Chris?
strong taste.
A strong taste. It was deer.
It was dear. It was well shot.
Well shot.
Yes.
Oh, it's
You have
still,
to
yeah.
You actually
The
have,
pallet's still in it.
Yeah, you have the pellets warning on the packet.
Yeah, you do.
How do you get all of a pallet full of venison anyway?
Well, that's one of the problems with shooting in this country is that there's a lot of venison around. So no, we've been gifted all this food, which is wonderful, tasty.
Gifted venison.
Venison, yeah.
Let's just get this into context. So we've got a pallet full of, it's not like 4 bodies of venison all lumped onto a pallet. What is actually we've been given?
No, it's venison stew.
Venison stew. Gav, have you tried it yet?
I haven't tried it yet, yes. I'm working up to that big taste test.
Believe me, I think you'll be a little bit. Well, I'll let you try it and see how you get on.
Yeah.
But we are, joking apart, we are looking to give this out, aren't we? And to make it available to people.
Yeah, no, we've got a superb kitchen now that we can actually do the stews in. We could do to add to our soup mixes.
Yeah, we need to step back on this a little bit. If you remember in episode 5, we mentioned that, or was it episode 4? We mentioned that I had this problem of getting a brand new oven into the kitchen. How did we arrive at that situation, and what did that have to do with auctions, Gwyn?
Yeah. Talk about that, Gwyn.
Yes, tell us, Gwyn.
Why did we have to get a new oven, Gwyn?
What was wrong with the old ones?
I did
Gwyn?
buy a couple of shiny, bright coloured ovens.
Yeah.
From a restaurant that had gone bust.
Okay. Reason it went bust?
Yeah.
Maybe the auction. Maybe the ovens didn't work. So we discovered that the ovens unfortunately didn't work. Gwyn, we have to dial back a bit because I mean some of the things you brought into the warehouse are quite incredible and we benefited from. But some things just we arrive and what do we have to do when they arrive, Gav? I mean you've had more experience than this.
We have to get really inventive, and we always do. We find exciting and new ways to use the things that come into the warehouse. There's always an outlet for these things and people in need. So
there is.
It's great. I love it.
I mean, we do have things like brand new clothing that we're sending out.
Blankets and that kind of thing.
That's right.
Blankets,
Yeah.
yes, huge amount of blankets.
Chinese crockery. Or was it Japanese crockery? wasn't it?
Japanese crockery.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Sake
British
bowls.
Airways.
Sake bowls. Yes, we're still trying to find a use. If anybody out there's got a use for 2 pallets of sake bowls, let us know, will you? Oh my goodness, that's a whole new podcast.
They're about the size of a communion cup, aren't they? So
I think you can do a lot of communion with them. Okay. If you're an Anglican vicar and you're short of a communion cup or 2, then we're your people to come to. What a great idea.
Fantastic,
Yes, I take this
communion
sake.
in a sake bowl.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Break this bread and take this sake.
No, don't be sarcastic.
Oh, okay. Speaking of pallets,
Yeah.
I heard a little fact earlier about the USA and the Gaza airdrop of meals into Gaza. What was that? You told me.
Yeah, absolutely. I was so surprised. Seems amazing at the time when you have these planes flying over Gaza, dropping in 60 pallets of food with parachutes on them, with what they said was around 38,000 meals.
Right.
And then I was comparing it with the same amount of food that we can fit on 60 pallets.
Okay. And what was the calculation? Gav's our mathematician here.
He was. Well, we're feeding, let's just be clear, we're feeding children here. So
Absolutely.
the quantity of food per child is obviously smaller than that you would give to an adult. But when we send a 40-foot shipping container out to somewhere like Zimbabwe or another country, then that will have 300,000 meals on it. And 60 pallets would roughly go into about 3 shipping
Yeah, that's
containers,
about
just
right,
less than
yeah.
that. So you'd be feeding or you'd be providing something shy of 900,000 to 1 million meals with that sort of quantity of food.
Yeah, absolutely. So it just puts into perspective of how much cost goes into doing that, which is very much needed
Yeah.
in that area because the people of Gaza are suffering immensely. This week we're hearing about children dying of malnutrition in Gaza. So we really need to get on top of this problem out there and get this war on a ceasefire footing so these children can be fed. There's over 40% of the population of Gaza are kids under 15. Nothing to do with the war. That's over 1.5 million children who are suffering because of this war.
And it's so difficult because we can't get things in at the moment or haven't been able to get things in. And we're just praying that things will change and the situation will be better.
Is it likely that Feed the Hungry would get involved at some point with the situation in Gaza and
Absolutely, we're in contact with people in there to see what we can do, when we can do it, to actually get food provision in place on a long-term basis.
Wow. It's a tragic story and one that hopefully we can do something about in the future. But for now, we're aiming and we're looking at packing 1 million meals, packing those 3 containers or 3 and a bit containers.
3 big containers.
What's that about, Gav? Where's this all come from?
Well, I think this came out of Live 2023. Now, Chris, I'm probably better to segue back to you at this point because our listeners will probably want to be reminded what Alive 2023 was.
Yeah, so Alive 2023 was when we got all the diocesan schools around Coventry and Warwickshire to come together at an event in a showground. We had 9,000 children and adults who came together, had 2 picnics, feeding the 5,000, feeding the 4,000. But actually, it was a way of introducing them, both having a worship event and joining together to be part of something much larger than just their individual schools, but also to inform them about the needs of others around the world, to link them with the needs of children around the world. And then out of that has come something quite extraordinary in terms of our thinking of how we could continue to involve schools in providing food directly. So
that was way more eloquent than I could have done it. And that's where the Million Meals idea came from, that perhaps we could take the idea of a short classroom-based program of connecting children in the UK with, say, children in Zimbabwe, so they could learn a little bit about the lives of children over there and really connect by doing a classroom pack of our rice, lentil, soy and nutrient pack meals. So
we're looking for around 200 schools to pack around 5,000 meals.
That's
each.
how you get to 1 million. That's correct.
is that right?
Yeah.
200 times
schools.
5,000.
Yeah, and we've already got buy-in from
Brilliant.
about 5 so far, 5 or 6. So we're just looking for another 194. But it is a 2-year program, so
and people can join in and actually sponsor that. Any
they
individuals,
can.
corporates?
They can follow it through our website. But if you're a corporate organisation, you want to sponsor one school, it's just over £2,000 to do it. Plenty of information we can send out. Just connect with Feed the Hungry. and we will be happy to do that.
Yeah, the thing I love about this is actually, I know we've mentioned it outside this room about legacy and what are we doing for the next generation? What are people becoming involved in? What are people are becoming passionate about? And I know that this generation of children we hear about, it's about climate change for them. It's about recycling and all that sort of thing. But and I think in terms of what we're looking at in packing 1 million meals, we're trying to just have those trigger points for those kids to understand that it's not just about feeding myself, but it's about feeding others. And this is a great opportunity for them to recognise that.
It's a social justice message.
It's a touchy-feely that instead of just giving money, these kids can get involved in doing something, and knowing that the parcels they're packing are going to be life-changing for other kids somewhere else in the world.
Who wants to do this? I know what goes into the meal. What actually will go into... When you say packing a meal, it's not like packing buttered chicken for a curry, is it?
No, but if you spin back on this recording, I said what went into it about 3 minutes ago.
Okay. We'd love to tell you again that we have...
That was a wrap on nothing. to pay attention.
So we've got rice.
Okay, but how's it done?
So what we do is we have a funnel.
Thank you.
And then we have 4 boxes of different ingredients.
Yep.
Around the tunnel, so everybody gets involved in placing a bag under the funnel and then pouring rice, soya, lentils, and the extraordinary packet of vitamins and minerals that go in to make this a superb product.
Yeah, and it's almost worth saying that we also do this on a corporate level. So we do this as part of a CSR, corporate social responsibility program, with a large number of organisations around the country who will do it, at scale with maybe 30 to 50 to 100,000 meals, and have a great day doing it, almost competitive. So you set up 5 lines or 10 lines, 10 people per line, 100 people maybe, all packing. Huge amount of fun, but it's not just the fun of doing it. As we keep saying, every time you put together a pack of food which will feed 6 children, or you pack a box which will have 216 meals in it, you're viscerally connecting with the children in Zimbabwe who would receive it.
Absolutely.
And you get to wear all these special hats.
And look great, and beard covers and things like that.
Absolutely.
And look silly.
Not sure about beard covers in the schools for the kids. You never know, though.
The teachers, though.
And the other thing is that we play some really banging music during the day.
Yes, we do.
Yes, as
if you're there, it's all 80s rubbish.
But 80s rubbish. We were over in Ireland doing this with a company called Medtronic, if we're allowed to name them, and we decided we would test out music from different eras, like from the 80s, the 90s, 70s, noughties, and the 10s, to see whether the speed of packing increased or decreased by decade music.
There's a PhD in there somewhere.
There is a PhD, but I can categorically say now on camera that, contrary to popular belief, the music of the 80s is the best and drives the fastest packing rates, especially with women to It's Raining Men, for reasons I cannot explain at all.
That's bizarre. Anyway, so why are we doing this million meal? Why really? What's the heart of it? And where are those million meals going to go?
Those million meals, because they are Gmo-Free, which is awesome in itself. Because
what does Gmo-Free mean?
Genetically modified. So a lot of the stuff that comes from the US will be genetically modified.
So proper food.
Proper food, thank you.
Made in Wales.
Made in Wales. No sheep included.
You didn't know there was rice growing in Wales, did you? But it's great, they have paddy fields out there and all sorts because of the wet.
Sorry, but you did start the programme in Welsh, didn't you?
So anyway,
moving on.
So they're going to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe have a law that requires all their food that is imported in is GMO-free.
Okay.
So we're probably one of the only countries able to do that.
Wow.
And get tax exemption for doing it as well, to get that into the country.
Okay.
And this is a social justice message that's being taught in school, the right to food, and actually getting the children to connect with children of their own age in schools and around Harare is really amazing. And as this program develops, we hope that one day that will be a live feed between children in Zimbabwe and children in the UK. And we, I've been out there. I've been to schools around Harare. And what strikes you is that children who are on our feeding program are happy, nourished, having a great life. They may not have quite the same facilities as our kids do in the UK, but it's not this message, this constant feed that we get, in advertising on British TV of some malnourished child walking 20 miles to get water. That isn't the message. It's the success of feeding programs like this, the educational attainment of the children there, and the love of life generally that they have.
It's wonderful. So we're talking about getting the meals to the right location. What do we think? What is the right location for these million meals?
It's going into Zimbabwe.
Okay, and interestingly, where's Gwyn been?
Yeah, absolutely, in Zimbabwe.
In Zimbabwe, tell us more.
Yeah, it's a program where we're feeding over 18,000 kids.
Goodness me.
How many schools?
In 16 schools now.
How many beards? Sorry, no beards in the schools.
No beards in the schools.
Oh, okay. And what's this seed to plate business we talked about in episode 2? What does that mean?
Well, as part of the program, what we're actually developing is the ability of communities to actually grow their own food, so that we're actually wanting to move away from importing food to actually growing food in country.
Right. And so what do you anticipate happening next? So we're doing a feeding program at the moment. You got how many schools?
16 schools.
How many kids?
Around 18,000 kids.
So we've got a big feeding program going.
Absolutely.
How are we going to move? How are we going to transition into something that is more self-sustainable?
Absolutely. What we're going to do is move away from importing food and growing our own food in country.
Great. And what does that mean?
That means that we're actually going to look at how a grain is going to be used and produced to not only, because we can't actually develop the same product that we've been doing, so we're thinking of actually developing some products in country.
And in order to do that, you took someone else with you, didn't you, this time?
I did.
Who did you take to Zimbabwe, Gwyn?
Oh, there we go.
Gavin. Gavin was there too.
Did you say Kevin?
Gavin. I said Gavin.
So yeah, Gav, you joined Gwyn just to see the next stage really, and to have a good conversation about
Foundations for Farming, who are basically a training college that uses self-sustaining methods. Organic methods to be able to farm and farm well, and they support a number of farmers. They train them up, and we've paid for about 36 so far to be trained, mainly women. To go and make the most of the land they've got, giving them seed packs and that kind of thing. We can start them off with a £50 seed pack, get them growing for their family, get them growing surplus, and the surplus then becomes the food that we can return back either into programs that we're running or indeed to export for potentially something we're going to call the Nourish Bar.
Okay, so you're going to grow something in country.
Yeah, absolutely.
In order to sustain what is, or augment the feeding program,
to replace.
Yes. Yeah, because there are plenty of other countries where we need to take that kind of program. Where the point about bringing food into the country is it's the way you start off an intervention, but it can't be the long-term solution.
No.
Zambia is a great example where it's pretty much all now grown in the country, so it's a sustainable economy effectively. Zimbabwe's in that state of transition, but we've got to do it at scale. 18,000 children being fed over 5 days a week is an awful lot of food to be putting into that country. We put in each year, what is it, about 9-10 shipping containers, something like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm interested, you said 5 days a week there. What happens at the weekend?
There is the nub of it. Yeah. And that's partly why we're developing this thing called the Nourish Bar.
Right, okay.
And so the Nourish Bar was an idea that Gwyn came up with, which is to be able to give access, or kids access to, a very high energy nut seed bar which they could take home at weekends, which would provide enough of the nutrients they needed for a day. So if they took 2 home, The problem is they're so delicious they'll eat them on the way home. But anyway,
Okay.
it is great because we've designed it, we've tested it, we know what it's like. It's so good, Chris, that we believe there's a market for it in this country.
Okay, so we're not just
amazing
walking,
thing
we're
about
running
the
it.
product
Yeah.
is that, naturally speaking, we don't have to put any additives.
It's just held together with honey and with green banana powder, which is something that I guess many people have not heard of either. But
Okay, are we allowed to say what some of the ingredients are?
yeah, we can talk about it. Chia seed, amaranth, baobab. You've never had baobab, have you?
Actually, I think I might have done.
You might have done because you lived down in Kenya, of course.
Kenya,
And one of the core ingredients is roasted groundnuts. We know them as peanuts over here.
What's amaranth?
Amaranth is seed.
Okay.
They're all different seeds and they all have different vitamin values. So
Right.
together, I think the only thing that we're missing at the moment is
Vitamin D, but that comes from animal products, so it's very difficult to put into what is essentially a vegetarian vegan type bar.
Wow. Okay.
But it's all held together with honey, and that's great. And we've made it in Zimbabwe, we've made it in the UK, tested it out in both countries, and it's delicious.
Yes, and I've been privileged to test that and we've tested it on some quite influential people in this country, haven't we? Actually, and they thoroughly enjoyed it.
they did.
So we're in development.
We're in development. It's going to be quite a long period of development because, particularly if you're going to try and take seed and product out of the country, there's a lot of legislation, controls, water content, all that kind of stuff that we've got.
And we've got to grow it. It's the first season of growing it.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Don't expect it to be on the shelves in the next week or two. That's not going to happen. We've got to find.
So what's the ideal in a few years' time? That you'll be able to see a Nourish bar in Zimbabwe doing what, and a Nourish bar in the UK doing what?
So the Nourish bar will actually tell you 3 stories. It'll
Okay.
tell you the story of a same Nourish bar being produced in Zimbabwe that is going to a child.
Yeah.
To give them, additional nourishment, particularly for weekends. It'll tell you the story of the farmer who actually grew the seed.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you the story of the seed itself, so the health benefits associated with it. So it's very, very exciting from that point of view. We call this causal marketing. So if you buy one here, you'll be buying one over there.
Terrific.
also, what we want to do is build up a stock for disaster relief.
Yeah.
Because when you have a disaster and whatever, you haven't got cooking facilities. So then you've got a high nutrition bar that you can give to people to feed them in an easy way.
So all you've got to work out is what you're going to put on the packet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we really look forward to finding out more about the Nourish bar in future episodes, its development, and of course we'll want to do a taste test for those of us who will have access to it, which we hope will be the rest of the country. Finally then, just in conclusion, what about the next episode? Well, we look at how the National Lottery and others, in fact, are changing the way supporting charities work, making it more business focused rather than donations. And we will have Gavin.
No. Let's not go there.
I'm sorry.
I think what we're saying is that we all have secrets from our past that we really don't want to dredge up. And you dredged up one on me, and you're proposing to put it into the next podcast.
I'm proposing to put it online, actually. I'm proposing it on YouTube. I'm proposing it to go viral.
And I'm seeking legal representation at the moment to close you down on this.
So for those of you who don't know, Gavin has created, or did create in the past, with around 5,000 hits on YouTube.
Yeah, about 12 years or so ago.
About 12 years ago. 12 years to get 5,000 hits. Wow.
Thanks. I noticed you're underwhelmed with the whole thing.
Totally underwhelmed. We look forward to a Ugandan wedding song on YouTube with Gavin playing cello.
No, that was my son playing cello. I'm actually playing grand piano, and I sing on the thing in Lugandan, which is one of the languages of Uganda.
I am well impressed. We look forward to that next time.
I don't know what I'm singing, mind you. I haven't got a clue.
Thank you.